Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias, and today is, I imagine, the long-awaited re-look, the follow-up to the Nabalis Bird of Prey. Now, let's get this out of the way now. Nabalis did send this over free for the purpose of these videos, but any and all opinions presented are my own, and they did not pay me in any way. You know how it goes. Transparency out of the way, let's take a look at what comes in the box. At least what came in my box. Your mileage may vary here, I'm not entirely sure. We have their typical pivot needle slash T10 bit, bunch of extra hardware, 2 Nabalis stickers, 2 bite handle indicators, a also very nice pouch. It's a good time for pouch lovers, although strangely the felt is on the outside rather than the inside. The inside feels more like a normal cloth. You have the insert that goes over the blade, which is this little wrench thing that isn't really useful, and you have like I think they're going for like a case style box here, but I would never want to transport balisongs in something like this because they're just gonna, fall out and hit each other. And I mean, it's cool otherwise, and of course there's that cool artwork on the front. But what do I think of the Bird of Prey? If you aren't up to speed, please go watch the unboxing video, but the quick recap of the Bird of Prey is that it was created for the Create with Nabalis competition, where people all over the community could submit their ideas for a balisong design, and the community would vote on them, and then Nabalis would go on to make them, which is just unheard of. It is really, really cool that they not only did that, but they made this. This, engineering-wise, is one of the most impressive balisongs that I think I'll be taking a look at for a very long time. And we'll get into that for a second, but I'll just read out the specs for you guys one more time in case you missed it. 440C blade, 7075 aluminum Chanwich handles with I missed this in the original video. These inserts in the blade are actually aluminum inserts, which is crazy. I thought they were just like stickers or something. You've got G10 inlays, an adjustable balance, which I'm going to be totally honest with you, I did not try because I found the original balance for this thing to be pretty freaking awesome. Spoilers for later in the video. So maybe I'll come back if people really want me to in a future video and try out some of those adjustable weight points. It's just a bunch of pins in the end of the handles. So there's that. 10.34 overall length, 3.42 ounces. This thing is really cool. It's really cool in concept, and in execution, I think they mostly stuck the landing, especially when you take into account everything that had to go into creating this, because they didn't have any sort of, blueprint to go off of. All of this is not only from a sketch from some random person in the community, and I don't mean that as like a slight on the person that designed this. Genuinely, anyone could have, it could have been me, it could have been little Timmy who drew something in his notebook and people really liked. It could have been any random person, and they turned it into a fully functional and mass-produced design, which is just insane, especially if you take a look at the overall part count that goes into this. I mean, we have two different pieces for the handle itself. We have this insert, we have this insert, we have the scales themselves, we have this insert over here. We have friggin' like the G10 goes through the channel here, and then there's an adjustable weight system down here, and then there's a version of this that has aluminum faded anodization, which is really difficult to do, and then you have an aluminum frickin' insert in the blade itself, which is, it's all just so crazy that they managed to do that in such a reasonable amount of time. I mean, Create with Nabalis ended what, like, it was February to like April, I want to say, was like submissions to voting until we knew who won. And the Bird of Prey was the overall winner. And this is what we get out of it. You get a $140 balisong that flips well. Now, I did say that they mostly stuck the landing because there are a few things that are not the best. I mean, you look at an $140 balisong from Nabalis like the Vault Pro. The Vault Pro feels great on almost every angle. There's no like sharp corners. There's no nothing like that. The G10 feels good even as someone who doesn't like G10 that much. It flips well. It has, a bunch of different intricate pieces. I mean, the Vault Pro kind of was I guess the original Vault was, but like in terms of complexity, it was kind of the precursor to this Bird of Prey because it was created from a sketch and they did a bunch of crazy shit in order to make it into a real product. The thing with the Bird of Prey is that I'm assuming because of all that engineering, the price point had to go up a little bit because this doesn't have the same kind of fit and finish that you would expect from the Vault Pro. For one, it doesn't have that kind of awesome satin finish. While it isn't bead blasted. I think it's just normal aluminum. It's not like shiny like the Vault Pro is. It doesn't feel kind of as premium or special as the Vault Pro did, but it still feels good. It feels way better than the freaking Baikal that we just talked about. But the biggest thing is that there's just sharp corners kind of everywhere, like the chamfer here on the side of the handles. Not sharp, but like kind of pokey. The G10 is very grippy and sharp, which some people are going to like, some people aren't going to like. This bottle opener has destroyed my fingers on multiple occasions. So it's just kind of overall, like, it does kind of fall behind what I expect from Nabalis for the fit and finish of this price point. I mean, you look at like the wing in the Vault Pro, like I said, and they just kind of rise a level above in terms of like build quality. But I don't think that this is bad either. Like I said, it mostly sticks the landing. If you like that sort of... bottle opener just got me. You can kind of see there's like... It's kind of digging into my calluses as I flip it all over my hands. But if you enjoy that kind of more robust, sharp, grippy feeling, you're going to love this, I think. The balance is amazing. I would describe it as a very light, kind of floaty, outer weighted balisong. So all of the weight pushed towards a tip and towards the end of the handles. Mostly towards the end of the handles. You can definitely feel the weights that are put in at the end of the handles here. It carries momentum amazingly. It goes into rollovers and chaplains really well. 0 Gs like a champ. And honestly, it even chaplains like a champ. This is one of those balisongs. I usually talk about balisongs where you're kind of you're going steady and then it kind of just all of a sudden flies away. This one, it feels like it's becoming unstable. Like I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose it. 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 And it just doesn't go anywhere. So if you're chaplaining it a bit too fast, it can feel a little bit unstable, but it doesn't really get away from you unless you, like I was doing earlier, like really crank it, then it will go. But the chaplain experience is great, and that all comes down to that kind of more bottom weighted handle setup that they have. It's overall a really, really fun design. It's light, like I said, and the G10 definitely isn't helping there, nor is the aluminum inserts in the blade. But it also creates for a very interesting balance profile because this blade is heavier than it would be if this was just a cutout, but it's also lighter than it would be if it was just steel. It makes for a very interesting balance profile. And I find that it works really, really well. I mean, it performs amazingly in rollovers, but it doesn't slack in fans, choker fans, stuff like that. Even parabolics, ladders, all of this stuff genuinely feels really good on the Bird of Prey. So as long as you're willing to kind of give up some of those creature comforts of very refined, like a very refined feeling balisong that you get with something like the Vault Pro, you are in for something that is truly going to be unique in your collection. I think that's really, really cool, especially from someone who just drew something and they turned it into that. I mean, that's a reason to buy this in and of its own, just to support that kind of process that Nabalis went through and the designer went through to make this into a functional product. And on top of that, you get a really unique collection piece that's not really, it's kind of unlike anything else in your collection. I would call it like the Vault Pro. I mean, people were praising the Vault Pro and the Cygnus. I mean, because they're very similar design-wise. So I should say the Cygnus. People were praising the Cygnus because it was this super unique, intricate design, and that was kind of a reason to get it in and of itself. I think this is kind of the next step on top of that. Because there's truly some unique like G10 integrations. an adjustable balance. Like there's so many ideas on play here, or on display here, I should say. And it was just kind of created from a design. I know I keep harping on that point, but like it's genuinely so cool. It is really, really cool. Now, thankfully, you know, when I flip it, I don't have the Brandon and Will reaction of like, ooh, after loving it for so long. Because I think the concept definitely meets the reality here. Again, you have to be aware it's just going to feel a little less refined. But I genuinely do think it sticks the landing for something that they were trying to get done with creating it with Nabalis. I think it's awesome. Now, does it beat what we're going to talk about in the future? Maybe not. And if you can guess what that is, then there's your little hint for that video. But I think it's fun. I think it's incredibly fun. It's really cool to see makers doing just super unique stuff like this. It's cool to see designers who otherwise wouldn't have had the ability to put this stuff into production get that opportunity. And I hope that we see more of it. The Bird of Prey, definitely cool. One other thing I forgot to mention, if you're looking for something like, oh, I should get the Wing or the Vault Pro, because the Wing and Vault Pro present a very different experience for kind of the same price point. I think this very easily slots in alongside those, where if you're not interested in both of these, there is a third option that flips genuinely differently from both of them. If the Vault Pro is kind of that more standard Kraken trainer feel, and the Wing is kind of more that Prisma Pro feel, I would put the Bird of Prey, I don't know, maybe like an Aluno, like a Remshi design, kind of fun, floaty, or I mean even like a Cygnus, not flipping wise, but design wise. So it's very nice to see that they're not overlapping there, especially with how cluttered Nabalis' whole product line is at this point. But I've yapped for long enough. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Nabalis for sending this thing over. Really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to flip it in the days and weeks to come. But until then, I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.